You are now listening to Black Coffee, Crime, and Crochet, a true crime podcast where cozy meets criminal, hosted by Jasmine C.L. Prince. Grab your yarn, pour up an iced coffee, let's sift through the chaos.
Welcome back to Black Coffee, Crime, and Crochet, where we sip something ice, work on our projects, and talk about crime stories that have you side-eyeing everybody. I'm your host, Jasmine, and today's case, y'all, is crazy. But before we get into that, I know we were on a very long, unexpected break. For those of y'all who have been here for a minute, this is my last year of grad school. So when the new year came in, I had a lot of projects, my internship, midterms were coming. I just had a lot on me. And then I was thinking, oh my gosh, the 1 year podcast anniversary is coming up. And so for those of you who do not know, I have ADHD. Also, I'm going to put the timestamps in the description. If you want to skip past all of this small talk, that's totally fine. I understand. So look in the description if you don't want to hear any updates or anything like that for where I actually start the story. But for those of you who don't know, I have ADHD. And so when I was thinking about the 1 year anniversary of the podcast, I felt like I had to do something really big. And the thought of that kind of put me in ADHD paralysis and what is it called? Something avoidance. I just couldn't figure out how to start or how to go because I was putting way too much pressure on myself. I also had gotten behind on some things. So I just had a lot going on and I was not in the space to record. I am much better, more clear on what I'm doing. Midterms are over. I'm back from spring break. I got caught up on what I needed to get caught up on. And the story that I'm telling you today, it feels right. I also didn't just want to put out stuff just for the sake of putting it out. I wanted to put out something that, like I said, felt right, aligned with the show, and everything like that. So we are back. I'm thinking it's going to be regularly weekly now on Tuesdays. So I appreciate y'all for being patient with me. I also did not forget the giveaway. I will post the winner. I did do the giveaway right when I said I was going to do it. Just I never had any episodes, so I didn't post it. But that will be on Instagram. It'll be timestamped so y'all can see when I actually did it. It was back in February. So I did keep my word about that. And I will email you with your prize. For those of you who did fill it out, I very much appreciate you all. I read through all of them. I took the feedback in and we're going to be implementing them moving forward. So that is all of the small talk for now. Today, we are heading to Houston, Texas, kind of, for part of it, but the main part of the story is going to be in a different part of the country. But we are starting in Houston, Texas, where Brandon Sims and members of his own family were at the center of a massive Medicaid fraud scheme totaling over $12 million. And it seems like Black people love Medicaid fraud. I don't understand why, especially considering most people, well, I don't have the statistics, so I don't want to say this as fact because I don't know that. But there are a lot of Black people who are on Medicaid. So when you commit Medicaid fraud as a Black person, that just doesn't sit right with me because you are attacking a system that benefits people who look like you. So I already have an issue with that. But then when we get into this case even more, they really come for a vulnerable population. And again, I just don't understand what type of person could commit a fraud like what they did. But if that wasn't enough, this man had a whole motivational series on social media every Monday, telling people to believe in themselves while allegedly running a multi-million-dollar Medicaid fraud scheme. And I'm going to play y'all some of what he was telling people to do. It was crazy. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but So today we're not just talking about fraud. We're talking about image influence and how easy it is to look legit while doing something completely illegal. But y'all know how we do. I know it's been a minute, but we have to get into our iced coffee of the week. So the flavor vibe is smooth, sweet, layered, but hiding a little extra at the bottom. So this is going to make you a 24-ounce drink. So we got 2 teaspoons, or however strong you like it, Nescafe Blonde, or I have the mocha flavor too. So if you want it a little richer, you can use the mocha flavor. 3 ounces of hot water to dissolve the coffee. 1 ounce Mexican vanilla syrup, or Mexican vanilla, I'm sorry. 1 tablespoon sweetened condensed milk. 1 tablespoon dulce de leche sauce to line the cup and mix in a little bit. And of course, ice and oat milk or your milk of choice. Then we have your optional cold foam, but y'all know I like to be fancy. Here's the thing though. When you do the cold foam, you kind of gotta play around with it because you want your cold foam to be thick and not just bubbles. So in order to do that, you have to make sure you have the right fat content, because if you're only using half and half, most likely it's just going to be bubbles. So you can either get the canned one, or if you use half and half, you have to do like 2 ounces of half and half, like 1 ounce of whole milk, or you can use heavy whipping cream. That froths up thick automatically. You don't have to do too much to that. So it just depends on how you want your cold foam consistency to be. So dissolve your coffee in your hot water, add your vanilla and your sweetened condensed milk. Then you are going to add in your milk, your oat milk, right? I'm sorry, let me start over. So dissolve your coffee in the hot water. Yeah, then add the vanilla, add the sweetened condensed milk, mix it up again. Then add in your oat milk. Once you do that, you're going to take your cup. Don't line it yet. Just take your cup and you're going to tum-tum it. So you're going to take your coffee mixture, pour it in your cup with your ice, pour it back in your regular cup, and do that a couple more times just to make sure the flavor gets mixed in there, incorporated all together. Then pour it back into your original cup that you mixed the coffee in. Then the one that you're going to drink out of, then line that cup with your dulce de leche. Pour your coffee back into that cup, and then top with your cold foam. Hopefully y'all was able to follow that. That is the iced coffee of the week. Then, crochet update. I am pattern testing for my crochet bestie, Carvello Crochets. I featured one of her patterns, her Diva sweater pattern, last year that I also had pattern tested. So I'm pattern testing another sweater for her. Once I complete it and she says we could post pictures, I will definitely do that. But she has a lot of amazing patterns. I also have her Flower Power bucket hat that I'm taking orders for as well. That's another update. I am officially taking crochet orders. So you can message me on the podcast page or email me at clatrice.crochet@gmail.com. It'll be in the description box. But I'm just making hats. So if you see one that you like, or if you want to place a custom order, I am doing that right now. And Carvello Crochet's Flower Power bucket hat is one of the ones that I'm making as well. So there is all the updates. Like I said, I will put the timestamp for where the actual story starts, but we are getting into it right now. So our main character today is Brandon Eugene Sims. And I want to be clear because there were conflicting ways on spelling his name, but the official court document spells Sims S-I-M-S instead of S-I-M-M-S. So I just want to go on the record to say it's S-I-M-S. He is from Manville, Texas, which is in the Houston metro area. And he was the owner, keep that in mind, the owner of a substance abuse treatment facility called Life Touch LLC, operating out of Eastern North Carolina, specifically in and around Kingston and Goldsboro. Now, Life Touch wasn't just any little operation, y'all. They were a registered Medicaid provider, which is not a small feat and it's not something you can do easily. They were this provider since as far back as 2009. And what they did was they offered substance abuse programs, specifically what's called SACOT and SAIPO, which are intensive outpatient treatment programs. And they were billing North Carolina to Medicaid for every single session. So on paper, it was a legitimate healthcare business helping people in recovery. And something like that, when you do it legitimately, you have the potential to make good, clean, earnest money. However, behind the scenes, he was greedy. He was. But first, we're going to talk about the image, and we're going to get back to the Brandon's Motivational Minute on Mondays, y'all. When I saw this on YouTube, I knew I had to play it for y'all because this is just ridiculous. I'm also going to post the videos on my Instagram page, but y'all have to hear this.
Thank you for tuning in to Brandon's Motivational Minute on Monday. Thank you for tuning in to Brandon's Motivational Minute on Mondays. Let me encourage you that anything is possible as long as you believe in yourself. Thank you for tuning in to Brandon's Motivational Minute on Mondays. Let me encourage you that anything is possible as long as you believe in yourself. But the key is to believe in yourself. Believe that you can be everything that you desire to be. Believe that you can have everything that you desire to have. It starts with you, and it starts today. Never mind what they said about you. Never mind what they confess over your life. Allow what you confess today to command your week. Make this the best week of your entire life. Thank you for joining me on Brandon's Motivational Minute on Mondays. Thank you for tuning in to Brandon's Motivational Minute on Mondays. You may not have all of the pieces to the puzzle, but the piece that you do have, it fits your puzzle of life. Get excited because there are more pieces to your puzzle. This week, I want you to work the piece that you do have. Thank you for tuning in to Brandon's Motivational Minutes on Mondays.
I almost don't have the words. He did this every single Monday. Anything is possible as long as you believe in yourself. Believe that you can be everything that you desire to be. Believe that you can have everything that you desire to have. Then on top of that, there's another video out there where he's saying, congratulations, Brandon, on your new home. It's this really huge mansion. He had a whole housewarming, posted it online. Meanwhile, federal prosecutors say that very house and everything in it was funded by Medicaid fraud money. But the part that really sent me, was after sentencing came down, after the whole world found out what happened, this dude was still posting, and they always do. There has to be a sense of delusion or disassociation or something that happens for you to be caught, but keep posting. I don't understand. He literally posted himself at church that Sunday morning, which, hey, go to church. People go to church. That's not the issue. The issue was hours later on that same Sunday, he posted from a nightclub with the bottle girl holding a sign that said 12 million later with his favorite hashtag. You mean to tell me that the feds just sentenced you? Your family is going to prison, and I'll say later for how long. But you are at a nightclub taunting on Instagram. But we'll come back to what that means in a second and all the sentencing stuff. It's beyond me. But okay, let's get into the fraud. So what was the actual scheme? Here's how it worked. And it's a lot. So please stay with me because it's layers and layers, but here we go. So the first part was paying patients to show up. I literally said that. Yes. So Life Touch was allegedly giving out gift cards, like actual retail gift cards, to Medicaid recipients to get them to attend substance abuse classes. Now, why would they do that? Because the more patients showed up, the more sessions they could bill to Medicaid. Simple. Court documents describe a whole tiered gift card system. We're talking about $60 if you came to 5 sessions in a week, $50 for 4 sessions, $45 for 3 sessions. And sometimes they'd even throw in extra cards if you brought a new patient with you. So basically, they had this whole loyalty rewards program for a fraud scheme. So over the course of the scheme, which ran from no later than January 2018 all the way through at least November 2023, prosecutors say Life Touch handed out more than $1 million in gift cards alone to patients. And on top of that, Life Touch billed over $12.7 million in fraudulent Medicaid claims off those inflated attendance numbers. So that was one part. Then the second part is the lab money. So now alongside Life Touch, there was a second entity involved called First Choice Healthcare Services, LLC. And this one was handling urine drug testing. So here's how that worked. Life Touch patients would get drug tested. First Choice would bill North Carolina Medicaid for those lab services, and then the money would get split. So court filings described a 3-way split. Roughly 1/3 each going to Kimberly Sims, Francine Sims Super, and Kiki Johnson. So from October 2019 through March 2023, First Choice billed more than $2.5 million in Medicaid lab claims tied to Life Touch patients alone. And both Super and Johnson allegedly received payments of over $400,000 each, even though neither of them were standard employees of First Choice. So you've got the treatment side and the lab side working together to squeeze every dollar possible out of the Medicaid system. Then we have the family. So because this wasn't just the Medicaid scheme, this was a family operation. So court filings describe Francine Sims Super as Brandon's mother. She served as the Kingston office manager for Life Touch. Kimberly Mabel Sims, Brandon's sister, formed and operated First Choice Healthcare Services and was described as an equal partner in the lab proceeds along with Super and Johnson. Then there's Kiki Johnson, who served as Life Touch's compliance director and Medicaid biller, handling day-to-day operations, including the gift card purchases and audit responses. So they were out here getting audited. But this is a tight circle and everybody had a role. But wait, remember I said there were audits and not one, there were multiple audits. So this is where it got even messier. The gift card scheme didn't just fly under the radar. People were reporting it. Back in January 2018, right around when prosecutors say the scheme started, someone filed a complaint. They said they had been offered Visa gift cards in exchange for giving their Medicaid number and attending Life Touch classes. So an audit started. Then in January 2020, another complaint, another audit. And here's the wild part. Instead of stopping, they just tried to cover it up multiple times. Court filings allege they started claiming the gift cards came from third parties, organizations with names like Refuge House and Changing Lives. They submitted letters saying LifeTouch did not provide incentives. They created a whole paper trail to explain away the gift cards. In February 2021, they even allegedly changed business filings with the North Carolina Secretary of State, renaming a connected entity from LifeTouch Resources to Changing Lives Resources Incorporated, just to make the cover story more believable. Then in 2022, the Medicaid Investigations Division hit them with civil investigative demands, which is a formal legal request for records about gift cards and incentives. And prosecutors allege LifeTouch responded by producing fraudulent consent forms to support the fake third-party narrative. So they didn't just stop the scheme. They just kept building layers and layers and layers on top of it. Which leads us to the moment it all unraveled. By November 2023, federal investigators had been holding their case. And when they hold the case, it's because they're building something really strong. So when Brandon found out a criminal investigation was underway, he allegedly went to the bank and withdrew more than $1 million in cash, then hid it in a safe at his Texas home. So when agents executed the search warrant, they found that $1.3 million in cash, plus a 2021 Rolls-Royce Cullinan, a 2021 Chevy Corvette, a 2020 Chevy Silverado, and millions more in real property. You just out here just spending the money just on just dumb stuff that you don't. Like, what do you need 3 cars for? A Rolls Royce, a Corvette, and a Chevy Silverado for one person. I will never understand. It's greed. It's just flat out greed and audacity. That's really all you can say about it. So here we go with the charges, pleas, and sentencing. By June 2025, as part of the National Healthcare Fraud Takedown, which is where this wasn't the only case that was tied to it. There were several other cases about healthcare fraud, and we'll probably get into some of the other ones where federal prosecutors were just coming for everybody doing healthcare fraud. So they charged Kiki Johnson, Francine Sims Super, and Kimberly Mabel Sims. Brandon and LifeTouch had already been charged previously, but here is how it all shook out in court. And I need y'all shook out. I didn't mean to say that. Here's how it all went down in court. And I really need y'all to pay attention because I don't understand. I don't understand how you do this to your family. So LifeTouch LLC pleaded guilty to healthcare fraud. Sentenced in February 2026, the company was ordered to dissolve permanently, was hit with a $15 million fine, placed on 5 years probation, and ordered to pay $12.76 million in restitution to North Carolina Medicaid. That's LifeTouch. Francine Sims, I think I'm going to do Brandon last because I need y'all to hear this. Francine Sims pleaded guilty to healthcare fraud conspiracy. This is his mom, by the way. Kickbacks, false documents, and failure to file a tax return. She was sentenced to 6 years in federal prison in order to pay over $15 million in restitution to North Carolina Medicaid, plus more than $370,000 to the IRS. Kiki Johnson, same charges, same results. 6 years in federal prison, over $15 million to North Carolina Medicaid, and $331,000 to the IRS. Kimberly Mabel Sims pleaded guilty to conspiracy charges. She was sentenced to 2 years in federal prison, nearly $1.85 million in restitution to Medicaid, and $207,000 to the IRS. So since Francine and Kiki got 6 years, and Brandon was the owner. You would think that he would get, if they got 6, you would think he would got maybe 10, right? Brandon Eugene Sims was convicted on federal tax violations connected to the scheme's proceeds. That's it. He was ordered to pay $1.89 million in restitution to the IRS, plus forfeit all traceable proceeds, including those cars and that cash. He obviously made a plea, but it was sealed. So we don't know the exact terms or anything like that. It wasn't publicly available. But you let your mom and your sister go away to federal prison for 6 years. And then that night, you get on social media at the club. That is diabolical. In total, the court ordered forfeiture of more than $6 million in seized assets, cash, vehicles, and real property. The facility is permanently shut down, and the North Carolina Attorney General's office confirmed that by March 2026, the final defendant had been sentenced. But here's the thing, and this is the part people keep talking about. Why did the owner get less time? And I kind of got ahead of myself, but in most fraud cases, the person who owns and runs the operation gets the longest sentence. That's just, typically how it goes. The past cases we've covered, we saw that the owner or the ringleader or the initiator is the one who gets the longest sentence. But here, Brandon, the owner of the entire operation and the company, received, this is what he got, 30 months, 2.5 years. Again, his mother got 6 years. Kiki Johnson got 6 years. His sister got 2 years. I misspoke earlier. His mother and Kiki got 6 years, and his sister got 2 years. But Kiki is still his cousin. So like I said, his plea agreement was reportedly sealed, so the public can't see the full details of what he agreed to. We'll never know what he fully agreed to. But that's just crazy. And whenever you see a sealed plea and a shorter sentence for the person at the top of the scheme, people start whispering, like, did he flip on people? Did he tell? Did he work with them? Like, what happened? Did someone cooperate? How was he able to get away like that? And the truth is, without access to those sealed documents, we probably will never really know. And, that's just the reality of cases sometimes. The feds just will make deals to get what they want to get. And I don't know if Brandon was just the first one to say he would roll over, and maybe they tried to get the others to roll over on Brandon and they decided not to, but he was like, yeah, I'll flip. We'll never know. But what we do know is that the judge also ordered Brandon can never again operate or work for any business that bills federal healthcare programs. So, that tracks. But you let your mother and your cousin get 6 years. Your sister got 2. And you only get, I don't. If I was his mom and his cousin, when I get out, please have nothing to say to me. Lose my phone number. I don't have nothing to do with you. Unless the only way that this would be, it still wouldn't be okay. But unless they had some type of secret agreement to where he hid some of the money and y'all go for 6 years and then I got y'all when y'all get out. Even still, I couldn't do that to my mom or my cousin, but definitely not my mom. But if he's not taking care of them when they get out, like, ain't no way, bro. There's just no way. There's just no. So this leads us to Sip or Spill. I really want to hear what y'all's thoughts are. If you were in the position and you were the ringleader, and you were in the position to go down for the team, take one for the team, or flip and get the lighter sentence, sip if you're going to take one for the team so that everybody else can get out, or if you flipping and looking out for yourself. Because I need to know. Like, was this just a scam? Was it something deeper? Because like I said, Medicaid fraud isn't just taking money. It's not a victimless crime. And then you're preying on, oh, I forgot to mention this part. They were preying on immigrants to get to further along the scheme. So they were finding people who, like I said, were immigrants who needed money, but they either didn't need the treatment or they weren't receiving the treatment that they needed. So here you are in this beautiful position in a community where people really need you, but you're targeting people who are vulnerable. You're targeting people who need money, and you're either not giving them what they need, or you're getting people who are coming strictly for the money because they don't actually need treatment. That's another layer of fraud, of greed, of just being completely diabolical that you would do that and then spend the money on a mansion and cars and jewelry. And then I promise y'all, I haven't had a lot of cases that had a lot of pictures lately, but this man, there's pictures of him everywhere. The outfits that he wears or he wore, he looked like he was trying to be something that he wasn't. His outfits were very loud, very trying to make a statement. Like he wanted you to know he was there. And you did all of that. And then to post 12 million later at a nightclub after sentencing when your family is headed to federal prison. I don't know. I need to know what y'all think. Because this one makes me upset. And like I said, it just wrapped up in February. I'm upset because at all of them for targeting vulnerable people. And then I'm upset at Brandon for flipping on your family. When this was your company, this was your business, you were the leader of this. But that's it for today. Thank y'all again for being patient with me. We are back. I will be back next week. I have a couple of episodes already set to go. I did use this time off to research cases. Also, though, if you do have any case suggestions, please email them to me at blackcoffeecrimecrochet@gmail.com or DM them to me. But yeah, if this episode had you just all over the place like me, please share it with somebody who loves a good story with an iced coffee, of course. Don't forget to follow Black Coffee Crime and Crochet so that you never miss an episode. Follow me on Instagram, on Facebook. Join a discussion group. Follow me on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Please like, rate, and review. Because I am an independent podcast, so every listen, every share, every review really does matter and pushes us out there for more people to find us. I do have a Patreon where you can subscribe over there. I think it's like $3 a month. What else? I think that's it. So until next time, stay safe, stay aware, and y'all, please don't let these aesthetics fool you, because 9 times out of 10, influencing and scamming go hand in hand. So until next week, I'll see you later. Bye.
Disclaimer. Great effort is made to ensure that all materials used in Black Coffee Crime and Crochet adhere to fair use guidelines. No copyright infringement is intended. If you are the copyright owner or represent the owner of any material used in this content and have concerns about its use, please contact me and I will promptly address the issue.